Did we do that yet? Box plot. Okay, so let's go over it again to make sure we have it, because I don't know what we went over and what we didn't. So let me go to a handy dandy spreadsheet.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
There were 2 questions at the golden parts, I think it was 6 weeks.
Okay.
What's box plot? I'm like, we did this problem several times. I couldn't figure out box plot.
Let me look and see. Let me pull those problems up and let's see what they look like. We might use them to catch up with. Let's see. Email 103. This is 6A35, 6B, so we'll go with 6A and see what it looks like. 6A, number 35 in the book, that's what that number means right there. Number 12 online. So if you've got your homework printed out and then you got it with you, you look at number 12, this is what it looks like. It looks like one of these. Not exactly like it, but it's the same number, it's the same question, different numbers. Okay. Exam results for 100 students are given below. For the given exam, briefly describe the shape and variation of the distribution. Median is 38. So if I was to do this one, I'd first of all do this. Always draw a picture. Mean is 84. They don't have a standard deviation. I'm looking for a standard deviation. No standard deviation. They say that it's right skewed. That means all the data is on the left. So it means that I'm going to take my handy dandy red marker and I'm going to draw a skewed right picture right there. Okay. Center. The center tells you everything. Okay? Always remember that. The center, which is the mean or the median, depending on what they give you, that tells you that everything is compared to this number right here. So if it says skewed right, that means all your data is to the left. So you draw a big hump over here, and then it's, now is yours going to be exactly like yours? No. Is yours going to be exactly like hers? No. But is everybody's hump going to be on the left side of the center? Yes. Okay, it's kind of like when you draw a picture. If I ask you to draw a picture of a dog, is everybody in here going to draw the same exact picture? No. But I should be able to tell if it's a dog or not, right? Same thing here. I'm asking you to draw a hump on the left-hand side of center because it's right-hand skewed, because it's right skewed. So everybody should draw a picture that looks something like this, or you should picture it in your mind. All right? Now, this says a median of 38. Well, what's the middle? What's the mean? That tells you right there that your data is out of wampus right there, because the mean and the median should be close what? Close together if the data is valid. So you've got a median down here of 38, so you could just really draw kind of a line right here of 38, right here. That takes care of that. That takes care of that. Low score of 23. High score of what? 95. This should be what you're picturing in your head. Now, what are they asking? Okay. Okay. Why does it have a high variation? Well, it has okay, if your mean is close to your median, the median is no variation, okay? So if the mean is close to the median, then you have no variation, or very little variation. If you've got a lot of distance between the mean and the median, then what does that mean about variation? You've got a lot of variation. Okay? I was trying to think of a good example. So that's how you do that one. And the reason you know it's right skewed, is because of this. 38 is to the left of what? What if you had 112? What if your median was 112? It'd be right skewed. I mean, it'd be left skewed. Because your hump is where? Where's 112 compared to 84? On what? On the right side. So if your hump is on the right side, it's left skewed. It all depends on where the center is. Capiche? Does that make sense? Always look at the center. Always. Okay. Is that a test question? No, it could be, but that ain't the ones I like for test questions. Ones I like is when you actually figure stuff, calculate stuff. I might give you that one as a gimme, or give you some points. All right, let's see what this one says. 6B, 15 in the book, number 4 online. So if you got your homework, look at number 4. It's probably the one with 2 types of, yep, that's what it is. And I think we did this one the other day, did we not? So let's go over it again. And I'm going to pull it up, and y'all go ahead and write it down, because I'm going to pull it up in Excel. I'm not even going to worry about the directions, because I'm just going to do everything, and if I don't cover everything in the directions, then I'm not showing y'all something, because I should cover everything that they have in these directions. So you got 2 sets of data, 2 sets of test scores. One, East Coast counties, the other one, Midwest counties. These are just like test scores, because there's 5 or 6 of them, and they're all separate. Okay, this is your first group. This is your second group. I'm going to go ahead and copy them over in Excel, so you can make them bigger, and I can move them. Control X. Control V, no coffee. Okay. I hate this thing. That's the only thing I hate about the new Windows, is that dadgum button right there. Control X. Control V. Okay, there you go. Make it a little bit bigger so y'all can see. All right, copy those down. First thing you're going to do is what? Put them in order. And I usually cover 2 or 3 of these no matter what anyway, so this will be our second time going over it. Because in 120 I covered 2 or 3 of them. After about 2 or 3 times, everybody should be getting it. Let's put these in order. Go to data. There's that. There's that. Mean, median, mode, range, and mid-range. I'm going to do the easy ones. Okay, what's the mean? What do you do to get the mean? Add them all up and divide by what? Divide by 6. Median is in the middle, so I got to take the average of those 2 guys. That's equal, parentheses, this number plus this number, divided by 2. Mode is in decimals. I doubt very rarely we're going to have one if you have decimals. So non-applicable, does not exist. Put a word, do not put a number. Don't put 0. Range is equal to what? Highest minus the what? Lowest. And then the mid-range is the average of the highest and lowest. Y'all do the bottom and check my numbers. Make sure I don't have to redo them. No coughing or sneezing in class. That's why you're going to fail. It's 9:22 on Friday. Huh? Yeah, isn't it on Friday though? All right, y'all check my numbers. How they look? All right, so we could actually do the 5-number summary if y'all wanted to, or we could go ahead and find the mean and the standard, the standard deviation and the variance. We'll go ahead and find that. So the variance is equal to, well, we got to do x minus x bar, so we're going to have to put in another couple of, so right here, this is x, so this is going to be x minus x bar. This is going to be x minus x bar quantity what? How do you know that? How do I know that? Because I read the formula. I gave you the formula on the board the other day, did I not? Yes or no? I thought I did. Yeah, just don't talk to me. Minus mean F4 to lock it for those of you that use Excel. And copy those down. This number minus the mean, F4 to lock it, and check your numbers and see if you get those numbers. Square it. Oops. And that turns them all positive. And what do we need for the numerator of the variance? Add that last column up, Hubert. That's right, class. Appreciate the interaction. Makes class go by a whole lot faster, doesn't it? When you interact and talk. No, we're just going to sit here like a bunch of bumps on logs. We're not going to say a word. Okay, so equals this number divided by, and what is 6 minus 1? 5. And the variance here is equal to this number divided by 5. And what is the standard deviation's relationship to the variance? I don't know what means. I'm here, but nice to meet you. What is it? Relationship. I heard what is I heard s and then I heard what? The square root. Yes, you got it backwards, but you got the right reasoning. The square root of the variance is the standard deviation. The standard deviation squared is the variance. Standard deviation, if you square it, you get the variance. You take the square root of the variance, you get the standard deviation. So I got to raise it to the 1/2 power, which is the square root, and the same thing here. I want everybody to draw a picture of this curve based on the information that you've been given. Everybody. Just draw the curve. Mean and 2 standard deviations to the right and 2 standard deviations to the left. And if you can't do it, just consider yourself a what? Failure. Good. And you can live in a ditch down by the river. Yep. Might be dirty. Oh my God, my daughter is so outspoken. No, she is not a snowflake. She's got a video of her ranting about people not knowing how to park in the parking lot.
That's like every day.
Those parking skills are terrible.
I think she's drunk. She thinks she's drunk. But the only person you can fuss about parking is somebody that double parks. But you can't fuss about somebody parking too close to the line, because they might be parking too close to the line because the person that was parked beside them was parked too close to the line. You can't fuss about that. I'm gonna have to get on her about that. That's what she's fussing about. Let me put on there, it's the Russian's fault. And Bernie. And Coney. And women. And this weekend it was white men. It was Quartile. Okay, did y'all draw y'all's? We'll have to go over here a little bit. I'm going to have to go over here, and I'm going to put the mean right here. And then on the right side equals the mean plus what? Standard deviation, F4. And I'm going to copy one more time for 2 standard deviations to the right and 2 standard deviations to the left. So where is 95% of the population going to fall? Between 2 and what? 313. And of course, copy this. Probably not going to do it unless I copy it exactly right. Mid-range. Darn, I copied that wrong. Let's try it here. Check my numbers down here. See if you got the same numbers I did. All right, somebody tell me, now what are the two most important? I'm going to paint them green. Verde. And then we'll color this one a different color verde. And this one. Those are your two most important numbers. Now what can you tell me, just by looking at the standard deviation, which set of numbers are more valid? The second one, because the spread is not as much. Think of it as a spread, right? If you got a low spread, if you're comparing two spreads and this one's lower, that means that these numbers are a little bit better than this group. All right, now let's do the 5-number summary. 5-number summary, start with the mean. First quartile, the second quartile, third quartile, and the max. The mean is equal to the minimum, which is, this thing is in the way. $104, that's that one. And the max is equal to that number. The second is equal to the what? The median. All right, now we got to go back over here and see what, right now, our median is right here and right here. So how many numbers are above that red dot? So how do you get the median of 3 numbers? Find the middle, because it's odd. So, sorry, put on. So that is your second quartile. All right, third one. Third quartile is equal to that number. Okay, now I want everybody to draw your number line. Draw your number line using your min, max, and mid-range. We're going to draw a box plot. So this is 104. This is 314. Somebody tell me what my mid-range is. 209. Look over there. What is it? First numbers I calculated. 209. So it's 209. I'm going to put 210, make life easier. Okay, so 104 to 210. 104 to 204 is 100, so that's 106. So half of 106 is 50 what? 53. So that's going to be 157 right here. 53 here would be 2 what? 63. Now you can graduate those. 157, 104 to 154 is 50. So that'd be 53. Half of 52 is what? 26. 26, that'd be 130. 26 on to this would be 183. Y'all check me. 26 added on to this would be 236. 26 added on to this would be what? 89. Y'all check my math. Does that look good? Now, the number line is based on 3 numbers. What are they? I'm sorry, what? What is that? The bin, the mid-range, and the what? Write that down and highlight it, because y'all gonna try to reinvent the number line by trying to do something else. I don't know where y'all get it from, but y'all do. Now I'm going to take my blue marker and I'm going to draw my box plot. Box plot are made up of these 3 numbers. 123. Well, 26, half of 26 is 13. 13 would be 17. 117. So 123 would be somewhere in here. 131. 131 would be right in here. And 141. 141 would be somewhere in here. So what can you tell me about your data? It's right skewed, because all your data is to the left of what? It's to the left of center. So it's right skewed. Now you do the bottom one. The Midwest counties, you do that. Yes, sir.
Can you just go back to the beginning?
There you go. Give about a few minutes to do it.
Priority 1 message coming in on secured channel.
Is Charleston still flooded? It's amazing to me how people have no reading comprehension. They read a post, well, they don't have no comprehension, and it's only a few sentences. You know, a post is only a few sentences. It's not a paragraph or anything. All right, y'all finished? All right, well, the first one is equal to that number right there. We'll change that to blue. Blue. I don't know exactly what you call this. Maybe that's some like a khaki brown or something. We'll change it. Now we can go over here and use the same logic we were using with the first one.
You have a work email.
I hurt my toe this weekend. My big toe really hurts. I think I should go home. Well, me showing up to work and I got a broke toe. I should do like these other people and take 2 months off. That's what I should do. Should. Oh, I'm hurt. I've fallen and I can't get up. Okay, so my lowest score is 87. I'm gonna put 88. And my max is 228. I'm gonna leave 228 for easy math. Somebody tell me what my mid-range is. I'm a 158. Good. That's enunciated in volume. All right, 88 to 158. What's that? 70? 7 and 80 to 15. Somebody tell me that's 70. Half 70 is 35. So 35 plus 800 and I can't add 8 what the Somebody tell me what 35 plus 88 is. I want to say 123. 35 plus here, 191. Y'all check it. What's 158 plus 35? Thank you. You ever have a number that you just don't like to add? 8. I can't stand 8s. I can't stand to add 8s. Or 8 and 6, 8 and 7, 8. The only number I can add to 8 is 2. Alright. So half of 35 is what? 17? So 17, that'd be 95? Would it be 105 or 95? $88 plus 35. You're right. That's a good group. Sometimes. What's 88 plus 35? 1 what? Okay. 88 plus 17. I'm sorry. 105. All right. What's 123 plus 17? 140. What's 158 plus 17? And what's 193 plus 17? Okay? And you can keep graduating this if you want to. You just have to write smaller. All right, now I'm ready for my box plot. 93. Well, 88 to 100 is 12. Half of 12 is 6. So this would be 94 right in here. So 93 would be right in here somewhere. And then 95 is going to be real small right beside it. And then 96 is going to be, so it looks about the same as far as the skew, but what can you tell different about the two box plots? It's tighter. It's closer. So whatever they ask you about method or about the second unit, you can say that the second unit is probably the more reliable set of data. Is that what it asks you? Okay, I'll go back and look. Appreciate the interaction. It's always nice to have that interaction. Okay, they ask you all the numbers. They do all that. Then they ask you about the box plots. They ask you about that. And then they say down here, how well does the rule work? What rule? Range rule or what? What rule are they talking about? Okay, range of rule. I haven't showed you the range of rule. Here's the range of rule formula. I mean, here's the range of rule or whatever they're telling you about is take the range and divide by 4. So what is our range? Range rule of thumb is equal to the range divided by 4. So what's our range? Somebody give me that number. 210 divided by 4. Dang old 52. Is that what they give you? How much? All right, 51. All right, so what you do is you take your, let me get a clean sheet here. Take your handy dandy whiteboard. And for the first group, what's your mean? Somebody give me the mean for the first group. I'm sorry, what? 158. And add 51 on both sides. 51 here, 51 here, 51 here, 51 here. Or you can take the minimum. What was the minimum? 104 and add 51. 155. Add 51. 20 something. No, it's really 155 right here. I'm sorry. 155. Come in here today and it was an eraser. Now it's red. I don't know who changed it. It's a conspiracy. All right. 104. $51, yes. So they're saying I'm trying to show you how they do the rule of range of thumb. They take the 4 numbers, they take the 51. 51 and 51 is 102. And then 102 plus 51 is 153. That's it. 153. And then 53, that'd be 20 what? 204. That's how they do it. And then of course one more would be 51 is 253. And the middle being 153 what was ours? What's our mean? What was our mean on that first group? 150 what? 8? And then what was 2 standard deviations? 235. And 3 what? 313. So you see there's a difference. But as far as the median, was it far off? No. So the rule range of thumb, or whatever they call it, it is pretty close, but it's not reliable all the time. Okay, because the rule range of thumb is usually used when you're in a hurry or you're just looking at a set of data and you're trying to discern whether the data is tight at a glance. That's what the rule range of thumb is for. Okay? And that's what they're talking about in the question. Hold on a second. Right here. Using the rule range of thumb. Okay, the standard deviation. I told you, did we not do the rule range of thumb? Did we get 51 or something like that? Midwest, what about the East? No, I'm looking for the range of thumb. What do we get? 52? Okay, there it is right there. And using the range of thumb for the second. Again, even using the rule range of thumb or whatever they call it, which data is closer? The Midwest. Everything is pointing to the Midwest as being the better data set. So whatever they ask you, you should say that the Midwest is the better of the two. Okay? And I think that's what they're asking you here. This right here. Based on all the results, compare and discuss the two data sets in terms of their center and variation. Choose the correct answer. All right, the variation of whatever for the East Coast, for the first group, is higher than that of the Midwest. Well, let's look at our data. Where's our data? Here it is. The variation. Is the variation higher? Yes. Okay, so let's go back and see what the question says. For the 6 Midwest, okay, higher than the 6 Midwest, which means that the level of COLI in most Midwest counties varies in a larger range. No, that does not mean that, okay? It means if you have a larger variance, then you have the larger range, okay? Larger variance. Think about what variance is. What is variance? What is the root word of variance? Vary. Varies. Okay? It varies. Think of an EKG. If the EKG is going like this, that means there's a heartbeat. If it's going like this, no heartbeat, you dead. No variance. Flat line, no variance. Variance means something's going on. All right? The higher the variance, the more something is not right, because of course the EKG is supposed to go bloop, 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 bloop. But if you got bloop, 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 then something's wrong. Okay? So variance. Variance means something's wrong. The more the variance. All right, look at the second. The meaning of, what is COLI? What are they doing? Cost of living index. Okay, whatever cost of living index. All right, is higher than the 6 Midwest. This means that the average level of in this case counties is lower. Okay, let's look at the averages. Let's look at the averages and see what it says. The average here is 157. The average here is not lower. The average of the Midwest. So far the first two questions are common what? Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. All right? This one has a larger variance. That means that the spread is what? Greater. All right? The first question said, that means that the Midwest Councils has a larger area. That's wrong. This one has the larger area because it has the larger what? Variance, and the larger what? Standard deviation. It's spread out. Okay? The second question said that the mean is lower for the East Coast counties, and that's wrong. The mean is what? Higher. I think that's what it's saying. All right, and then the third one. The variation of the East 6 coast counties is higher, which means that the Midwest varies what? Smaller. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. If the variance is higher in the Midwest, in the East Coast, that means that the Midwest has a smaller variation, which means that it is smaller in range. The mean of the East Coast is higher than that of the Mid-East, which means that the average level of the East Coast is higher. Yes. So with these 4 questions right here, I don't know if y'all remember me saying this, but when you're dealing with probability and statistics, it's not whether you're a good math person. It's whether you're a good what? Reader. Those 4 questions right there, you have to what? You have to read them and you have to take them part by part. Yes, it's a Philadelphia lawyer question. It is an aggravating question. And no, I probably wouldn't ask it on the test. But to get the answer, you don't have to do much mathematical thinking as much as you have to match what they're saying to the data. Especially the part where it says the mean is higher than that of the Midwest. And I don't think that's true. I think the Midwest is higher. Okay? Or something. It's reversed. I can't remember. But you just got to read them. Is this a test question? Half of it is. Okay? I might ask you 1 set of data, but I'm not going to ask you 2. If I do, then I won't give you 2 or 3 more questions. I'll just keep it as 1 question. But that is a good question. It's good for us to start class with, probably in class with too. No, we got a few more minutes. All right, who's got a question on this one? Is that good? Now, to match I'll tell you one thing right here. When you match up the box plot, which one is it not from the get-go? It's not B because B doesn't have hash marks on it. Has to have a beginning and an end. So that's why B, if you put B down, don't tell anybody because you're going to get it wrong. See, that one's automatically not it. Okay, because it doesn't have a hash mark right here. Okay, all right. So that's that. Now, what else can we do? I don't want to go to mean and standard deviation. I'm going to go to z-score. Let's go to z-score. There's a question that used to be in the book all the time, but they changed books because it was a good book. So therefore, if it's broke, what? You fix it. I mean, if it's not broke, you fix it. You change books. Anyway, just pull it up. Let's see, Triola, Shack versus LBJ z-scores. All right, write this one down. You don't have to write all the crap. Just with the height of 75 inches, I want you to write this question down. I don't know it's going to be that messy when I pull it up. Let me just snip it out so we don't have to deal with all that crap. There you go. You don't have to write it word for word. Make sure you keep the word relatively in there. All right, now, any redneck that has a TV can tell you that who's the tallest person, Shaq or LBJ? Well, Shaq, because there's not too many people that are taller than Shaq. All right, but the question doesn't ask you who is taller. The question asks you who is what? Relatively taller. Relative means put it in context. That's what it means. For instance, what is the qualifications for being president of the United States? The only physical requirement is they have to be a certain age. Okay, and they have to be a citizen of the United States. Natural born citizen. Now, my question is this. Is there any physical requirement for a president of the United States having to deal with their weight or their height? No. So LBJ is a big fish in a little pond. Why? Because he's a relatively tall guy, but what's the requirements for being president? Nothing having to do with height. So he's a tall man, he's a big fish in a little pond. Whereas Shaq is a little fish in a big pond. Why? Because what's an advantage in basketball? Being tall. So, you know, if you are a 6-foot third grader, what is the physical education coach going to have you doing while everybody else is running laps? Layups. Why? Because he wants to point you, or she wants to point you in the direction of being a basketball player, because you're not going to suck at it, because you're tall. Okay, you could suck at it. I mean, Shaq could not do free throws, but, you know, he sucked at free throws, but he was a good center. He just stood there. But anyway, to make a long story short, but I like him because I think Shaq has a personality. Have you ever watched the interview with Shaq? He actually has a sense of humor and a personality.
Now.
Yeah. Oh, was he? Well, he was with that other guy that thought he was going to be the next Michael Jordan.
Kobe Bryant is the closest.
Yeah. Yeah, the closest, which is about like a pimple. But that's about it. You can't compare chicken salad and chicken. No. You can't compare those two. I'm sorry. That I don't think there ever will, ever be another Michael Jordan. Never.
There won't ever be another Michael, but Kobe's a better offensive player than Michael is. It's like that. Like 100%.
Okay. We can agree to disagree.
It is. It's like statistically proven.
Okay. All right. Who would win between Michael and
In a one-on-one game, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's the best one-on-one player the game's ever seen. Michael Jordan's the best overall player.
Okay, I could probably agree with that. But anyway, I don't think there'll ever be another Michael Jordan.
No, Michael Jordan has the best mental game that the game's ever seen.
Yeah.
No one will have his mind when it comes to playing.
Oh, yeah. Just like, and I hate this because he was such a inspiration for a lot of people, but Tiger Woods, before he started going crazy. Oh man, he was just awesome.
And watching him play when he was like 25 and 28 was crazy.
First time I saw him play was in 1996. I was at Emory Hospital. Not me, my dad was, and we were there watching the amateur when he went right before he went pro.
Yeah.
And he was playing that guy, and he was just beating like crap. And then the next year he went pro. I think 96 or 97.
He gets out there 19, 20 years old. He's making people who play in the whole life.
Oh my gosh. But he was one of these people who couldn't handle it. He couldn't. That's what happens. And you know, you got people like Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
They're just up here. Well, anyway, LBJ, big fish in a little pond, but Shaq is a little fish in a big pond. So you can't say that, oh, well, Shaq is taller because he's a basketball player. You can't say that because you got two different populations. You're comparing apples to oranges. Whenever you're comparing apples to oranges, you got to use a z-score. Write that down. Whenever you're comparing apples to oranges, you've got to use a z-score. What is the z-score? There it is. It's the same formula. Most of the time you're going to use this. Okay, x minus x bar over the standard deviation. X minus x bar over the standard deviation. Whenever you are comparing apples to oranges or two different populations, you're going to have to use a z-score. Now, what are they going to give you? They're going to give you all three. All you got to do is convert to a z-score. So you take your handy-dandy numbers and write down your numbers. With a height of 75 inches, then that means x is equal to what? 75, Hubert. Thank you, class. I just need to get back talking about sports and y'all talk to me. Okay, one of you will. All right, so what is, since we're talking about the president, then let's go down to the president. Presidents of the past century have a mean of 71. So x bar for presidents is equal to 71.5. And a standard deviation of what? 2.1. So I need all of you to figure that z-score right now. And I'm going to write the other in red. As soon as I can find my whiteboard. How did I do that? Huh. See if I can do it again. All right, so for the z-score for Shaq, his height, no, it's not going on there. I must be on another board. Another writing utensil. I am right here. I didn't know how to. Oh my gosh. I didn't know that. Be quiet. X is equal to, you ever used an app and you never noticed what it actually does? I just used the app to cut. I didn't know it. All this time I didn't know it had a pen up there. X is equal to 85. And what is Shaq's statistics? Well, he had a mean of for the team that year, had a mean, which is X bar, of 80, and a standard deviation of what? 3.3. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I'm showing you that when you see a z-score problem, you're going to be given the what? Information. It's not going to be one of those where you have to go looking for it. It's going to be there. All right, now calculate. What is 75 minus 71.5 divided by 2.1? Okay, write that down. 1.67. So here's my handy dandy curve. Zeros in the middle. One, this is your z-score curve. This is what you do with the z-score. 0, -1, and -2. I'm sorry, I didn't have nowhere else to put it. Okay, so somebody tell me, I'm gonna take the blue pen, and you said it was 1 point what? All right, so LBJ is falling right in here. All right, somebody calculate Shaq's z-score for me. One point what? 1.51, which is right in here. Who's further away from 0? LBJ. See, the blue one is further away from 0, right? So he's the most outrageous. He's the most unusual. He's the most whatever, ER, whatever the ER, taller, longer, shorter, whatever. So what's the answer to the question? LBJ is relatively taller. So you need to write that down and put it in context, because you need to understand how the z-score works. The further it is from 0, the more ER it is, the more extreme it is, the more unusual it is. Question. Now, of course, we just started covering z-scores, so that means that the next class we'll be going over a lot of z-scores, and then I'll be going over frequency distributions, and then after that we'll probably have a test. So we're probably talking about a test maybe sometime next week or the next week. So some of y'all that haven't even done any of the homework yet, you need to get on the ball. I gotta have an in-class test. It'll be like 5 questions, but all my unit tests are online.
Okay.
I've got to have a wait a minute.
I know you said something about
Yeah, I've got to have a. Where's my Skype?